Picture this. Two people walk into the same room. Same opportunities. Same intelligence. Same education. One opens their mouth and instantly captures attention. People listen. People trust them. Doors open. The other speaks and gets ignored. What's the difference? It's not luck. It's not talent. And it's definitely not about using big words or sounding like a genius. Because some of the smartest people in the world struggle to influence anyone, while others can change lives with a few simple sentences. Why? Because communication is psychology. The words you choose, the certainty in your voice, the questions you ask, your energy, your presence, these things determine whether people remember you or overlook you. And here's the dangerous part. Every single day, your words are either building your future or quietly destroying it. They're shaping your confidence, your relationships, your career, and your identity. Today, you're going to learn something most people never understand. How to speak smart by mastering the psychology of powerful communication. Because when you learn how to communicate powerfully, you don't just change conversations, you change your life. Let me, here, ask you a question. Have you ever caught yourself saying things like, "I'm stressed, I'm terrible at speaking, people never listen to me," or "I'm just not confident"? Most people say phrases like these every day without thinking twice. They treat words like they're harmless. They think words simply describe what's happening, but words are never neutral. Words carry emotional power. Words create meaning, and meaning creates your reality. See, most people think language is a reporting tool. They think they're simply describing life as it is. But powerful communicators understand something different. Language is a creation tool. The words you repeatedly use are programming your mind. They are shaping your emotions. They are training your focus. And what you focus on becomes your experience. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same situation and create completely different meanings from it. One person says, "This is a disaster." The other says, "This is a challenge." Same event, different words, different emotional state, different future. Because words produce pictures in your mind, and those pictures create feelings, and feelings drive actions. That means the language you use every day is not just affecting how you speak to other people, it's affecting who you become. Most people are running around with language patterns that weaken them. They say, "I have to go to work." No, you don't have to. You get to. One feels like pressure, the other creates gratitude. They say, "I'm trying." Listen carefully to that word. Trying creates uncertainty. Trying leaves the back door open. Trying says maybe. But when someone says, "I will," now something changes inside of them. The strongest people on earth understand this principle. If you change the words, you change the emotional state. And if you change the emotional state, you change your life. Think about the moments where you felt unstoppable. You probably weren't saying, "Maybe I can do this." You weren't saying, "I hope this works." Your language matched your certainty. You said, "Let's go." You said, "I'm ready." You said, "This is happening." Because certainty has a sound. Confidence has a language. Power has a vocabulary. And I want you to understand something today. Your brain is always listening. Every word you repeat becomes an instruction. If every day you say, "I'm awkward, yo," your mind starts searching for proof. If every day you say, "Nobody respects me," your focus begins filtering your world through that belief. But if you begin changing your language, everything shifts. Instead of "I'm overwhelmed," say, "I'm growing through pressure." Instead of "I'm bad at communication," say, "I'm learning to communicate with power." Instead of "I'm scared," say, "I'm excited." Tiny changes in words, massive changes in identity. Because smart communicators understand a truth most people never learn. Your words are not just describing your world, your words are building it. Change your language and you change your life. Now here's where most people get communication completely backwards. They spend years trying to improve what comes out of their mouth while ignoring what's happening inside their head. They study vocabulary. They practice lines. They try to sound smarter. But they miss the real battlefield, the conversation happening within themselves every single day. Because before you ever speak to another person, you are already speaking to yourself. And let me tell you something, that inner voice is shaping everything. It determines your confidence, fear, energy, your certainty, and the meaning you attach to every experience. Long before words leave your mouth, they've already been rehearsed inside your mind. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly thought, people are judging me? Suddenly your body changes. Your shoulders tighten. Your voice gets weaker. You begin overthinking every word. You hesitate. Not because the room changed, but because your internal conversation changed. Or maybe before speaking in front of people, you tell yourself, don't mess up. Don't say anything stupid. What happens? Your mind immediately focuses on fear. Your attention narrows. Your confidence drops. Because your brain responds to the commands you give it. Most people don't realize they are unconsciously training themselves every day. They wake up and repeat patterns like, I'm not good enough. I always get nervous. I'm terrible at talking to people. And then they wonder why they lack confidence. Listen carefully. You cannot consistently speak powerfully to the world while speaking weakly to yourself. It doesn't work. Because communication is energy before it is words. People can feel certainty. People can feel insecure, fear, security. They can feel hesitation. They can feel conviction. And what does that energy come from? It comes from your internal state. You see, the strongest communicators are not people who never feel fear. They are people who learned how to direct their mind before opening their mouth. When pressure hits, they don't say, what if I fail? They ask, how do I win? They don't say, why am I nervous? They ask, how can I use this energy? They don't say, what if they don't like me? They ask, how can I serve these people? That shift changes everything because questions direct focus. And whatever you focus on expands. Imagine two people walking into the same opportunity. One person is internally saying, I hope I don't embarrass myself. The other says, I have something valuable to give. Same room, same people, entirely different experience. Your inner dialogue creates your emotional state. And your emotional state creates your external communication. That means if you want to become powerful with people, stop waiting to feel confident first. Start training the voice inside your head. Catch those moments when your mind says, I can't do this, and interrupt it. Replace it with, I'm learning. Replace it with, I'm growing. Replace it with, I've handled challenges before, and I'll handle this too. Because confidence is not something you find. Confidence is something you build one thought at a time, one belief at a time, one inner conversation at a time. And once you master the voice within, the world starts listening to the voice you speak out loud. Master your inner conversation and your outer communication will transform. Now let's go deeper, because this is where people make one of the biggest mistakes of their lives. They think speaking smart means using complicated words. They think if they memorize enough vocabulary, sound intellectual, or speak in a way that impresses people, they'll become powerful communicators. But let me tell you something. Intelligence does not automatically create influence. You've met people like this before. People with degrees, knowledge, and information stacked to the ceiling, and yet when they speak, nobody moves. Nobody changes. Nobody remembers a thing they said. And then you've seen someone else walk into a room, say a few simple words, and suddenly everyone listens. Why? Because communication isn't here, just language. Communication is psychology. Human beings are emotional creatures first and logical creatures second. People love to believe they make decisions with pure logic, facts, and reasoning. But think about your own life. Have you ever bought something because it just felt right? Have you ever trusted someone instantly without knowing exactly why? Have you ever followed a person because of the way they made you feel? Of course you have, because people respond to emotion. They respond to certainty. They respond to connection. That means if you want to speak powerfully, stop trying to sound impressive and start understanding people. Start paying attention to human needs. People want to feel important. They want to feel understood. They want to feel seen. They want certainty, significance, connection, growth. And when you understand what people truly need, your communication changes completely. Think about the difference between talking at people and talking to people. Most people are waiting for their turn to speak. They're so focused on what they're going to say next that they completely miss the person standing in front of them. They hear words, but they don't hear emotions. But powerful communicators listen differently. They listen for fear behind confidence. They listen for uncertainty hidden beneath strength. They listen for excitement inside someone's story. They hear what people mean, not just what people say. Because words are only one part of communication. Timing matters. Energy matters. Facial expressions matter. Tone matters. Certainty matters. Have you ever had someone say, I'm fine, and instantly you knew they weren't fine? The words said one thing. The psychology said something completely different. That's because human beings are constantly communicating beyond language. And the smartest communicators understand this. They know that communication is not about delivering information. It's about creating emotional connection. When someone feels understood, walls come down. When someone feels respected, trust begins. When someone feels heard, influence starts growing. So stop asking, how do I sound smarter? Start asking, how do I understand people better? Because the moment you understand psychology, your words gain power. You stop speaking just to fill silence. You stop speaking just to prove intelligence. Here, start speaking with purpose. You start speaking with awareness. You start speaking in a way that reaches human beings at the deepest level. And once you understand people, communication stops being a performance and becomes a force. Master psychology, and words become power. Now, let me show you something that changes everything. Because most people believe communication starts when they begin speaking. They think influence begins with words. They think the moment they open their mouth, that's when people decide whether to listen or not. That is not what happens. People feel you before they hear you. Read that again in your mind. People feel you before they hear you. Before a single word leaves your mouth, human beings are already making decisions. They're reading your posture. They're reading your face. They're reading your energy. They're reading your movement, your certainty, your emotional state. Long before they analyze your message, they are responding to your presence. You've experienced this before. Have you ever met someone who walked into a room and suddenly everyone noticed them? They didn't say anything extraordinary. They didn't make some dramatic speech. But the was something about them. Their presence filled the room. And then you've met someone else who could have incredible ideas, amazing intelligence, and valuable insights, but somehow nobody pays attention. Why? Because confidence communicates before language ever does. Human beings are emotional sensing machines. We are constantly reading signals from each other. We may not consciously think about it, but our brains are always asking questions. Can I trust this person? Do they believe themselves? Is this person certain? Is this person safe? Is this person authentic? And those questions are being answered in seconds. That means if your words say, I'm confident, but your body says, I'm afraid, people will believe your body. If your words say, trust me, but your energy says uncertainty, people feel the disconnect instantly. Because communication is not just verbal. Communication is congruence. It's when your words, your body, your emotion, and your certainty all move together in the same direction. Think about moments in your own life when you felt powerful. Think about a day where you felt absolutely unstoppable. Maybe you achieved something meaningful. Maybe you won. Maybe you felt proud of yourself. How did you stand? Your shoulders probably moved back naturally. Your breathing changed. Your eyes lifted. You moved differently. You spoke differently. Now think about moments when you felt defeated. Moments where you doubted yourself. Everything changed. Your posture dropped. Your energy lowered. Your eyes looked down. Your movements became smaller. See, confidence isn't just happening inside your mind. Confidence lives in your body. And here's where people miss the secret. They wait to feel confident before changing their body. Powerful communicators do the opposite. They use their body to create their emotional state. If you want certainty, stand with certainty. If you want strength, breathe with strength. If you want confidence, move with confidence. Because motion changes emotion. Try this sometime. Walk into a room with your shoulders back. Head up, breathing deeply, and move with purpose. Notice what happens inside you. Your psychology starts changing immediately because your body constantly sends signals to your mind. Now understand this clearly. Confidence does not mean becoming loud. It does not mean becoming arrogant. It does not mean dominating every conversation. Some of the most powerful people in the world speak calmly. They speak slowly. They don't rush. They don't force. But when they speak, people lean in. Why? Because certainty has a presence. There's a difference between speaking to be accepted and speaking from conviction. Most people walk into conversations hoping people like them. They're asking for permission with every word. They're shrinking themselves. They're apologizing with their energy before they even begin. But powerful communicators bring something different into the room. They bring certainty. Not certainty that they know everything. Not certainty that they're perfect. But certainty that they have value. Certainty that they belong. Certainty that their voice matters. And people respond to that. Because the world doesn't just listen to words. The world responds to energy. And when your presence speaks confidence before your mouth ever opens, your words begin carrying a completely different kind of power. Master your presence, and your words will never walk into a room alone. Now let's talk about one of the most underestimated skills in communication. Because most people think powerful communicators are the ones with all the answers. They think influence belongs to the person who talks the most, dominates the room, or always knows exactly what to say. But that's not how it works. The smartest communicators are not always the best speakers. Very often, they are the best question askers. Because questions are powerful. Questions direct focus. And wherever focus goes, energy flows. Think about your own life. Have you ever had one question completely change your perspective? Maybe someone looked at you during a difficult moment and asked, "What if this challenge is happening for you instead of to you?" Suddenly your mind moved in a new direction. Nothing changed externally, but everything changed internally. One question shifted your focus, and focus changed your emotions. See, every day, your mind is asking questions automatically. Most people just don't realize it. They walk through life asking terrible questions without even knowing it. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I not good enough? Why do people never understand me? Now think about what your brain does when you ask questions like that. It immediately starts searching for answers. Your mind becomes like a machine trying to prove your question true. If you ask, "Why am I always failing?" your brain starts collecting evidence. If you ask, "Why am I awkward?" your mind starts replaying painful memories, because your brain answers whatever question you give it. Now imagine changing the question. Instead of asking, "Why is my life difficult?" ask, "What can this teach me?" Instead of asking, "Why am I afraid?" ask, "How can I grow stronger through this?" Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if this changes my life?" Completely different emotional state, completely different energy, completely different future. And this doesn't only apply to your own mind, it changes how you communicate with other people. Most people walk into conversations trying to impress others with answers. They're performing, they're proving, they're trying to appear smart. But powerful communicators understand something deeper. Questions create connection. When you ask someone a meaningful question, something powerful happens. People feel seen, people feel heard, people feel important. And people don't remember you most because of what you told. Them. They remember how you made them feel. Think about the people you enjoy talking with the most. Chances are, they aren't always the funniest or smartest person in the room. They're usually the people who make you feel understood. Why? Because they ask, they listen, they become curious. Powerful questions open doors. Questions lower defenses. Questions create trust. Questions guide people without force. And when you understand this, communication becomes something entirely different. You stop trying to control conversations. You begin directing energy. Instead of pushing people, you lead people. Instead of arguing, you create discovery. Instead of demanding change, you invite transformation. Because the quality of your life is shaped by the quality of the questions you ask yourself and others. Change your questions and you change the direction of your life. Now let me bring all of this together, because after everything we've talked about the words you use, the conversations in your mind, understanding psychology, mastering your presence, asking powerful questions, there is one final truth that separates average communicators from extraordinary ones. Most people speak to impress. Powerful people speak to move. And there is a massive difference between the two. Look around and you'll see it everywhere. People trying to sound smart, trying to prove how much they know, trying to win every argument, trying to impress people with knowledge, titles, achievements, or complicated language. But here's the problem. When your goal is to impress people, your focus becomes yourself. You start thinking, do I sound intelligent? What do they think of me? Am I saying the right thing? How do I look? And the moment communication becomes self-focused, fear enters the room. Because now you're performing. Now you're seeking approval. Now you're speaking from insecurity instead of purpose. And people can feel it. Remember, human beings are emotional sensing machines. People may not consciously understand why they disconnect from someone, but they feel when communication is forced. They feel when someone is trying too hard. They feel when words are designed to impress rather than connect. Now think about the greatest communicators you've ever encountered. The people who changed your perspective, the people who inspired you, the people who made You believe in yourself. What made them powerful? Was it big words? Was it perfect sentences? Was it flawless delivery? Number. They made you feel something. They moved you. Because powerful communication is not measured by how much information you deliver. It's measured by what changes after you speak. Does someone leave stronger? Do they leave clearer? Do they leave with more hope? Do they take action? That's impact. And impact happens when your attention moves away from yourself and onto service. Walk into a conversation asking, how can I help? Walk into a room asking, how can I add value? Walk onto a stage asking, how can I change one person's life today? Suddenly pressure disappears. Because now it's no longer about proving yourself. It becomes about contribution. And contribution creates power. Think about it. When you're truly focused on helping another human being, you stop obsessing over your own fear. You stop overthinking every word. You stop worrying about being perfect. Your attention shifts outward. And when attention shifts outward, confidence grows naturally. This is why some people with simple words can create extraordinary impact. They, here, are not speaking from ego. They are speaking from conviction. They are speaking with intention. They are speaking because they care. People remember that. Long after they forget exact sentences, they remember how someone made them feel. They remember the energy. They remember the belief. They remember the emotion. Because words alone rarely change lives. Emotion changes lives. Connection changes lives. Meaning changes lives. So as you move forward from this moment, stop asking yourself, how do I sound smarter? Ask a better question. How do I become someone whose words create change? Because the goal was never to impress people with your voice. The goal is to use your voice to move the world.